Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Caitlin, and hi, I'm back. I took a little bit of a break. Thanks for hanging out and waiting for me as I took my little, month hiatus, just about, yeah? So yeah, I needed a little bit of a break. I was kind of pushing myself a little bit too hard in terms of balancing freelance and YouTube and Twitch and everything, and then life just got really messy too. So I just needed to step away for a little bit and take a smidge of a break. So thanks for your patience and hanging out while, and watching my old videos too. I've been getting a lot of comments on old videos. So thanks for going through the archives while you waited for me to come back. But as you can see, I also got a little bit of an upgrade. I got a new camera. I don't know if you can tell, we have a new aperture type of thing. I'm in focus while the background is a little out of focus, real nice. And I kind of improved my setup while we were waiting, but I also had a little bit of an accident right before the hiatus happened where I cracked my Wacom tablet. So that for sure put a damper on things because I wasn't able to do digital art. But either way, with that out of the way, we're gonna finish off OC-tober this week, and we're starting off with Kaida. So this, for week 3 of OC-tober, I really wanted to delve back to one of my original comics that I made way back in the day. I actually made it in high school and started actually kind of producing it in college. But then real life happened. I had to get a full-time job and so many other factors, and I wasn't able to really keep doing that comic anymore. So Jade Dragon holds a very special place in my heart. It was one of my first comics I've ever made. I am very attached to the characters, and I would really like one day to go back and start drawing it again. It's on my to-do list. I'd love to just have a full-time job of making Fox Among Hounds and Jade Dragon. That would be awesome. So here's a little picture of Kaida. I don't even know what year this is from, but I'll put a little pop-up here letting you guys know what year this was drawn. But like I said, she's been around for a very long time and is my first little baby OC that I really developed. So I for sure had to include her in OC-tober. So let's jump in and redraw Kaida and do all of the different prompts for this third week of OC-tober. All right, let's kick off our third week of OC-tober, even though it is a little delayed. I still got around to it. But like I said earlier, this is Kaida. She is one of my oldest OCs ever. I really started drawing and developing her back in early high school. Overall, I think her look has been pretty consistent, in terms of her basics. She's had the same hair, and her overall look and color palette has basically stayed the same. But her attitude and her style has changed a bit. I know when I was first developing the series and really fleshing her out, I remember putting her in some more feminine clothes kind of at the beginning. But both her and I changed over the years, and her tomboyishness spoke to me a lot more than some of her earlier development outfits. I don't know if this is the same for everyone when you make OCs, but I feel sometimes your first OCs are almost like a reflection of yourself at the time. And I feel Kaida is very much kind of a reflection of my inner self, but not my inner self, I guess. It's weird to describe, but I remember when I first was developing her, I was kind of teetering between tomboyishness and feminineness, and I just didn't really know how I wanted to look and feel back then. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to be fully tomboyish or should I be feminine since I'm a girl, but it just took some time for me to discover myself, and through discovering myself, I kind of discovered how I wanted Kaida to be. So I know that was kind of a long side tangent rant, but yeah, she is my tomboy, kick butt, dragon wielding, spirit wielding fighter. And with her being my oldest OC, she is also from my first comic. I know I talked about it a little bit in the intro, but I really started writing and developing the series throughout high school. I think I really actually started it in late middle school. I started drawing and concepting it when I was in about, I think, 7th or 8th grade, somewhere in there. Honestly, it was heavily inspired by Fruits Basket. That was my first major anime that an old friend of mine introduced me to. And I just loved it so much, and I loved the idea of the Zodiac, but I was also super into Naruto and Bleach and a bunch of other anime at the time, and I was like, no, I want to make like a fighting one. So like I loved the idea of the Zodiac from Fruits Basket, and I was like, what if we did like a fighting anime manga thing, but with the Zodiac? So that's honestly kind of where Jade Dragon, started back in middle school after I watched a bunch of anime. But honestly, it was developed a lot in middle school and high school, but I really started kicking it off in college. It was kind of my like fun side project to do on top of my schoolwork and my part-time job. I think it's just a common thing for me that I am very much a workhorse, and I love doing a lot of things at once. So I worked on my schoolwork, but I also was trying to produce a page a week of this comic, which it worked out. Like I was able to produce the full first book, and I started the second book at a point, but it was just really fun. It was a crazy thing to juggle, but it was a great experience for me to have. So I ended up completing my first book after about 2 years of working on it, and I launched a Kickstarter back in 2013 to get the first, book printed. It was really exciting because it was a combination of this was my final year in college, and then I started doing Comic-Cons in 2013. I was like, great, I'll do a Kickstarter, I'll launch it at a Comic-Con, and I will show off my first book there. And it was really exciting to finally show my comic to the world, and have a Comic-Con booth for the first time ever. It was really cool. But if you do want to go back and watch early internet Caitlin, you can find the old Kickstarter intro video there. I was very shy in front of camera. I was kind of awkward. So it's kind of a fun thing to go look back on. And I went and rewatched it before drawing and filming this OC-tober. And it's honestly like amazing. It's such a great little time capsule on top of I still am not the best at animating. I feel I've gotten better, but basically I animated my main cast of characters in that Kickstarter video, and then I got voices for everyone back in the day. And it was really fun to go back and kind of see who I cast as the characters' voices, and I still feel like they're very much like the voices I imagined for the longest time. So it was really cool. I mean, early internet Caitlin might make you cringe a little bit, but it is really fun to see the voices of the characters as well. And I still am in contact with a couple of the people that did the voiceover for these characters, and it's just fun like running into them. Like Michelle Laws did the voice of Kaida, and I ran into her at VidCon like 2 years ago, and I had never met her in person, but I'm like, oh my god, hi! And we just had such a fun time. It was a really cool experience. I've had a lot of cool experiences with Jade Dragon, and I've made a lot of friends from posting the comic. So, I mean, besides it being my first comic, there is a lot of amazing memories involved with this comic too. And God, I really want to draw it again. Like, talking about it is getting me all hyped up to draw comics again. And then just speaking of comics and drawing them, I did end up completing book 2. I worked on it really hard for another year to year and a half, I think. I mostly worked on it after I lost my job in 2014. Yeah, because I graduated 2013. Yes, so I lost my teaching job that I was doing in 2014 because they discontinued the position that I was in along with the teacher that I taught under. And it was hard. I lost my job for 6-7 months during the time, and we were living with my husband's family, and I just had no income. I was applying for jobs like crazy. I was trying to get just some type of job, like a graphic design job or something. But in the meantime, while I was waiting, I'm like, I'm just gonna work on my comic. I'm just gonna sit here and draw this second book. So I banged out the second book and finished it up, but it really took the wind out of my sails when I finally went to go get it printed. I went to try to get a test copy printed, and the comic shop that I got the first one printed through came back and is like, there's something wrong with your patterns. Basically, what happened was the first book I completely produced in Manga Studio. And then the second book, I was really getting comfortable with Photoshop, so I brought it over to Photoshop and made new comic tone brushes. But what ended up happening is in that transition, it ended up making the comic tone brushes totally wrong and incorrect. It was like, it basically just made unusable comic tones, but it looked right on a computer, but when they were printed, it looked like I had plaid all over my page. It wasn't correct. So I completely lost the wind in my sails after working for months with no job and finishing this book. And I'm like, yeah, I finally finished it. And then to find out that I literally would have to retone the entire book, basically recolor everything. I just completely lost my momentum, you know? It was a really hard time already in my life without a job and with my life a little bit unstable. And yeah, just to have the book basically be unprintable was really heart-wrenching. So I lost the momentum there. I stepped away from Jade Dragon, and then a little while after, I ended up getting a full-time job, and my YouTube channel ended up picking up. I started dedicating more time to making YouTube videos, and then my day job really did demand some overtime and a lot of time, so I ended up putting Jade Dragon on the back burner. And I would really love to get back into it again. Like I've said before, like I love making comics, and I would love to just make Jade Dragon and Fox Among Hounds comics all the time. Like if I could be a comic artist, that would probably be what I'd want to do all the time. I mean, I would love to do concept art too. Like if I was to do monster designs for games or shows or anything, that would also be on my top tier list of jobs. But I think my heart of hearts, I really just love making comics. So enough about Jade Dragon's like origin story and my struggles with making comics. Let me tell you more about Kaida. So Kaida is a scrappy, tough teenager living in a martial arts dojo. She was abandoned there as a child and has since been raised by the master of the dojo, Sensei Shin. And when she was about 16, the heads of the dojo unanimously decided that it was time for Kaida to be inducted into the Zodiac. They had known for years that she did have the spirit of the dragon within her, but it hadn't been awakened yet. And they wanted to wait until she was a little bit older. And Sensei Shin disagreed with their decision, but the heads of the dojo insisted that she needed it sooner rather than later. I mean, they're not just random heads of the dojo. They are aware of like the zodiac spirits and all that stuff. So they felt that something evil was coming, and they're like, we need Kaida to be ready to fight. You know, if this evil arises like we were predicting, we need the dragon spirit to be ready to fight. So that night, Kaida was inducted into the Zodiac, and the spirit of the dragon was placed within her and awakened. Actually, it was already like in her. I guess it was more awakened. Sorry, I misspoke there. And then the dragon of the Zodiac is seen kind of as the leader of the 12 Zodiac members. So Kaida had the task to find the other members of the Zodiac and team together to defeat mass evil. Long and short, I remember when I was first developing this comic, my dad, who is for sure a businessman at heart, was like, you need an elevator pitch. Tell them what it is within like a couple seconds. So I think my old elevator pitch that I would do at Comic-Cons was like, you know, Kaida is, how did I do it? Man, it's been years. I haven't done this in so long. It's like, Kaida, who has the spirit of the dragon, the Zodiac, sealed within her. It's her task to find the other 12 members of the Zodiac and defeat mass evil. I feel that was like my pitch. I would always just like be like, you know, like spirits of Zodiac fighting mass evil. Done. But yeah, so it's her task to basically learn how to use the spirit of the dragon of the Zodiac and to find the other members so they can all team up and beat the bad guys, basically. And then with that, I was flipping through my copy of book 1, and I stumbled across a little write-up about Kaida too. I really loved in the Fruits Basket books, I think it was, they included little random bio write-ups for their characters. So I started doing that in my book. I mean, I only got to book 2, so we got a little write-up of Kaida, and then the Rat of the Zodiac, Akira, we only got those 2 write-ups. So, you know, whatever. But the ones that I did do, I really enjoyed doing. And it's kind of fun to go back and find these like fun facts columns, you know, like I was in just such a different, not mental place, but I guess storyteller place when I was younger. And it's kind of another snapshot of this is what I liked. So of course, this is what Kaida likes. So some fun facts. Kaida's birthday is May 23rd. Fun fact about that is I made her birthday the day that I launched the book. When I first started like producing and selling the comic, it was during Phoenix Comic-Con. So I made it the date of that Phoenix Comic-Con as kind of like a combination of a timestamp and also just like, I thought it was a cute, fun, like birthday date that was sentimental and important to me. So her birthday is May 23rd. She's 5'7", which was my height at the time, and somehow I grew taller. I'm now 5'8", but she was 5'7", and she was 145 pounds. I think I made it a bit different on the most recent OC-tober post. I think I changed her weight. I think her height was the same. I don't remember. Some other fun facts in this column is her favorite sushi is unagi, which was my favorite. And then her interests included video games, punk rock music, and shonen manga, which were all the things I like and still like. And then her dislikes included essays, perfumes, bees and wasps, which were all of my dislikes. It's just so funny because I was so unabashedly making Kaida basically me, and it makes me laugh to be like, oh yep, I also hate writing essays, and yes, I usually don't like perfumes because they make me sneeze, and I hate bees and wasps. Wow, how funny and convenient. Oh man, it's just great when you have an old OC, and it's just such a blast from the past. Like you're like, wow, this was literally me in an OC. I don't know. You guys can leave it down in the comments below. I'm interested to see what you guys think. But I feel a lot of people when they make their first OC, it's very much like a personal snapshot in a way. It's not always like, here, this is me in an ideal OC self, you know? It's not always like that. But I always feel like any OC is kind of like a snapshot of the creator in some way, like some attribute about the creator or something that they love. But maybe it's just me, or maybe I'm just over analyzing, but sometimes I feel like those first OCs that we develop as artists and storytellers when we're growing up, I feel are very much like, this is what I want to be, or this is like the more ideal version of myself, or I want to include attributes about me in this character. It's just really fascinating to go back and look at like stuff about Kaida, because I'm like, wow, this is literally, if I wanted a cool kick-ass ideal self of mine, it would be Kaida. Like I really related to her in her personality and who she was, and I always joke with my friends because I want to be this cool badass chick, but I'm way too much of a softie. I can't do it. Like, I can't be the cool girl that goes around and like is tough all the time. Like, I don't know. It's just, my soft side is way too strong for that. So I find that really funny, because it's like, I don't know. I really want to be like some cool badass babe, but I can't. I mean, I used to do martial arts, and I've always wanted to ride a motorcycle. I tried doing skateboarding when I was younger. I tried all the things that were supposed to make me a badass bitch, but I couldn't do it. It was too much. I was just a little bit too much of a chicken to be a kick-ass girl. I mean, I like who I am. Don't worry. I'm very confident in who I am now, and I like who I am and how I look and all that. And yes, I'd still love to have a motorcycle one day, or like do all these cool things, but it's fun to just put that ideal self in an OC. Long story short, this has now become like let's like analyze Catelyn about what she wants as her own personal self, not like, let's talk about Kaida. But I guess they kind of are intertwined. Kaida is very much who I wanted to be when I was younger. I still love her, and like I still feel very personally attached to her as a character, but I know I've changed quite a bit since writing this story. I think that will be the best part, is if I ever get the chance to revisit Jade Dragon. I feel I've developed so much as a storyteller. Like, I'm very different in my storytelling approach, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about doing Fox Among Hounds, because it feels closer to who I am as an adult. Jade Dragon was very much my, like, it's not like a fan fiction, but you know, when you're younger, you have your like cookie cutter story that you're writing, and I still love Jade Dragon, but I can call out the flaws in my own stories. It was very much like, you know, typical shonen kind of shoujo combo manga. Like, I followed the same beats from stories that I really liked when I was developing and writing this. I tried to add some plot twists and things back in the day, but now that I go back and read them, I'm like, Caitlin, that's like the same thing from this anime. So like, it's such a snapshot. Like, Jade Dragon is who I was when I was younger, and reading how I wrote it is just so interesting and fascinating to see how different of a storyteller I have become, how different of a person I have become. And it's just kind of fun to compare, like, okay, now modern Caitlin thinks like this, but middle school, high school Caitlin was very different and wanted certain feelings and moods in her stories for sure. So, you know, I would really like to revisit Jade Dragon. I think it would be really fun to recreate this story, redraw it, bring my characters into a new light, and just like have fun recreating these stories, because I think there's a lot that could be improved on, because, you know, it was like a writing project from high school. Like, that was a very different me, and I feel I've improved a lot. So I would love to go back and redo Jade Dragon. So long-term goal would be, I want to rewrite and redraw Jade Dragon, and I really want to make Fox Among Hounds. If I could just do comics all the time, that would be awesome. But either way, here's Kaida. Thanks for listening to my long tangent of self-analyzing me and how I relate to this character. And I hope you enjoyed this one and learning more about my first little baby OC. All right, and there we have it. We have our finished OC-tober piece for Kaida. So it was really fun going back and kind of drawing her again. It's so nice to revisit an old OC. It's kind of like seeing an old family member that you haven't seen in a long time. It's just like so nice to just reconnect to that and like kind of feel your roots again, I guess you could say. So it was really fun redrawing her and like bringing her into my new style. And it was also fun bringing like some other elements of her back into my life. Like, I loved drawing her dragon spirit back in the day. I would draw them everywhere, just on anything. And then this old outfit and costume, like, it's very sentimental, and I guess I'm still kind of attached to it, but I for sure would love to do a redesign of it if I ever like pick this comic up again, because there's a couple things I think I'd want to change a little bit now that I have done more character designs and stuff, but it still holds a very special place in my heart. And then it was just fun to draw her in some different outfits and then revisit this piece from back in the day too. This was fun to just redraw and then recreate one of my like early interesting dark zombie creatures. It was fun to just kind of redraw it in my new style. So yeah, this is Kaida, and I had a lot of fun drawing her. If you guys would like to help support me, support this channel, and help me potentially make this my full-time job, like making art and making comics, go support me over on Patreon. You can get a lot of fun goodies over there. And then we only have 1 week left of this OC-tober where I'm going to be drawing your guys' OCs. So if you would like to participate in that, make sure to post under the hashtag KMMyOC over on Twitter or Instagram, and I will be drawing those and releasing that video next week. Again, thank you guys so much for stopping by and checking out this video. If you aren't already, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, join our little community, hit that like button too if you're enjoying OC-tober, and I will see you guys next week for another video. Bye, everybody. I'd like to take a second to thank all my patrons over on Patreon. You guys are all amazing. If you guys would like to get some behind the scenes access, early look at some of my art, a monthly D&D monster, go check out my Patreon. And again, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.